Good morning. This is Akanksha Shukla from Information Technology Department, and I am going to discuss today. I am going to discuss one of the topic of web technology, that is Java database connectivity. So, first of all, the overview of JDBC is that particularly it is specified as an interface. The second one is it is an application programming interface to manages or to query the relational database management system, and we can also say that it is a new standard to access the RDBMS or single API to access every single product. JDBC also allows to run the SQL queries, whether the queries are static, dynamic, DML or data definition languages or data manipulation languages, or whether the instructions are DML or DDL. So, JDBC allows to run all the queries of SQLs, and also it helps in processing the results also. The specifications based on the XOpen or SQL CLI standards, just like ODBC object database connectivity, can also be fulfilled by the JDBC connectivity, and it is also termed as an alternative to proprietary solutions just like Oracle, Sybase and DB2. The simplified basically the Java data and the database Java JDBC connectivity is basically used to provide the connectivity to the databases. So, DBMS architecture is primary concern to be shown here, so that the things will be more clear or more familiar to you all. So, here this is the query processor. This is the query processor and this is the storage manager. Okay, this part is storage manager and this is the query processor part. So, here what we have the different kinds of applications, we have different types of queries, schemas, changes, whatever we have inside the query processors comes from this layer only. And here we have a metadata or dictionaries. So, from the metadata or dictionaries we have an optimizer which optimizes with the helps of compilers and evaluators, and further these storage manager and query processor both have a two-ended connectivity. Okay, so here we have a transaction manager in which we have a buffer manager or file system part, and later on we have a storage manager which have the databases or indices inside it. So, similarly this is a basically simplified DBMS architecture, that how database management system works. Okay, so this is simply the architecture of DBMS, simplified DBMS architecture, in which we have a query processor which processes the different queries, and based on the different databases or indices which are present in the storage managers, and this basically in bidirectional way this cooperates with this particular part of that architecture. Now, the DBMS goals, what are the different DBMS goals are? The efficient data management, faster than files, a larger amount of data can be processed in a short span of time, the higher reliability, information sharing between the multiple users, or we have a parallel information sharing with not only one-to-one users, we can have many users at a single point of time. So, multiple users can share the same information or can have the information at the same times. DBMS users are the bank, insurances, airlines, e-commerce companies, transportation companies, corporate databases, government offices, government agencies, college data. So, these all are the DBMS users, and that's why, and the last line it is also mentioned here that now a time everybody nowadays means each and every user or each and every person are the users of the DBMS. Now, what is the concept of DBMS? So, basically we have a database modeling here. Inside that database modeling we have entity relationship diagrams, we have relational models, we have a connectivity to ER diagram to relational models, relational algebras, we have also SQL. Inside the SQL we have subqueries, we have different methods or different concepts just like joins, modifications, nulls, constraints, triggers, stored procedures, embedded SQL queries, views, and relational designs in which we have a chord normal form, 2 normal form, 3 normal form, fourth normal form and fifth normal forms. Now move on to the JDBC and SQL. So we have SQL 3 entry level supports, inside which we have dynamic SQL, most SQL types, transactions, basic cursors, metadata, data dictionary access, and inside the extension mechanism we have syntax which are inspired from the object database connectivity, in which we have keywords, parameters, and ODBC conversion functions also, mathematics also, and for long term we have support the SQL 3 connectivity or 3 complete. Now these are the different JDBC versions. JDBC 1 integrated to Java 1.1, JDBC 2.0 API, which have two versions, 2.1 and 2.0. The 2.1 is a core API since Java 2 standard edition, and the JDBC 2.0 it's an optional package since Java 2 enterprise edition. Okay, so the JDBC 3 have core API and also have optional package. Now new in JDBC 2 is JDBC 2.0 core API have scrollable result sets, capability to update result set, and minimum support of binary large object and character large object data types. It is also having a user defined type supports and batch updates also. JDBC 2.0 optional packages have data sources. It is also having the distributed transactions and connection pools and ResultSet technology also inside the optional package of JDBC 2.0. The JDBC 3.0 Newbie, it is a newer version, that's why here it is written as Newbie. Okay, so it have a statement pools, it have save points in transactions, it have metadata for prepared statements, it has an enhancement of callable statements, types of parameters, types of multiple result sets, management of object types just like binary large object, blob means binary large object, clob means character large objects, and array etc for references basis. So this is a simple architecture of Java 2 Enterprise Edition Integration 1. Inside this we have a client layer. This is the client layer. Okay, and here is the data inside this we have a JDBC. Okay, and we can have a 3 layers here: client layer, presentation layer, and enterprise Java beans. So basically enterprise Java beans are used to, or in the Java beans are basically the reusable software components which we can use anytime, or which we can have whenever we have a use in enterprises architecture, or whenever we have an enterprise just like architecture, we can have a enterprise Java beans usage. So the first one is client layer, in which we have an applet client Java data, or in the presentation layer we have a servlet or JSP. So to inside the presentation layer we have a two options, servlet and JSP. As the servlet is the servlet is the you can say that CGI. Servlet is a replacement of CGI, and JSP is the advanced version of the servlet for presenting the data in a more effective or attractive manner. That's why inside the presentation layer we have two options, servlet or JSP, and all have their connectivity with the JDBC data. Whatever the data we have in JDBC, then these all the 3 layers have their JDBC connected to this particular tier. The next one is J2EE integration 2. So here we have a more expand version, that we have applet container, we have application container, we have web container, and then we have EJB container, and all these are connected with the database via JDBC. Now the drivers topology. So JDBC interacts with the relational database management system through a driver manager topology. Drivers are available for most commercial and open sources databases, just like Oracle, Database 2, Sybase, MySQL, PostgreSQL, ODBC also. The 4 drivers topology which JDBC uses are Bridge ODBC given with JDBC inside it, and the second one is native API, that is a partially Java driver. The third one is JDBC Net All Java driver, and the fourth one is native protocol All Java driver. They all are, the first one is written with the native codes only. This is the type 1 JDBC-ODBC bridge. In this we have a, this is the client side and this is the server side. In the server side we have RDBMS, which have its connectivity with the server interfaces. In the client side we have Java application, then JDBC driver manager, and then JDBC type 1 driver, and then ODBC driver manager, and then ODBC driver, and then RDBMS client interfaces, which further interact with the server interfaces to fulfill the particular task of the JDBC-ODBC bridge. So we have two, client side or server side. The RDBMS client interface finally interact with the server interfaces to fulfill the connectivity of that particular task. The second one is native API partially Java driver. In this we have also, we can have simply differentiate that here we have only Java application, then driver manager, and then type 3 driver only. Okay, no use of ODBC driver manager in that particular ODBC driver and ODBC driver manager. There will be no concept of that particular part in the type 2 driver topology of the JDBC. In the type 3 we have a server part divided into two parts. Okay, so net protocol all Java drivers. So what we have here, we have a client side having Java application, JDBC driver manager, and only JDBC type 3 driver. Inside the server part we have two components or two parts. In first part we have a middleware interface, and then RDBMS client interface will finally interact with the server interface, which have inside it or which have their connectivity to the relational database management system. The last one is all Java drivers. So here we have only simple short diagram, Java application, JDBC driver manager, and type 4 driver, which have their connectivity with the, here no client JDBC interface is given here, because it will implement for all the kinds of Java drivers. This is the architecture object. We have the driver managers, Oracle manager, JDBC Oracle driver, JDBC ODBC bridge, database 2 driver. Okay, and they have their connections with the ResultSet metadata, ResultSet statements, connection. Basically what happens, the driver manager have their connection with any kind of statement. There are three kinds of statement. Basically what happens, when I will discuss or when I will show you a program of JDBC connectivity, then these things can be more clear. Okay, then there I will define you that how the connection driver implements the connectivity, how the ResultSet implements the queries, what is the what are the statements, what are the result sets, what are the metadata, how many kinds of statements you can have in the JDBC. So basically we have three kinds of statements in JDBC. First one is a statement, then the second one is prepared statement, and the third one is callable statement. So here only these three statements are differentiated here only. Okay, and this connection have also a this connection can also have a database metadata also. So these are the components of the JDBC. The first one is driver manager, which loads the database drivers and manages all the connections between the applications and the drivers also. So driver manager, basically whenever we are going to have a connectivity with the database, then first of all you have to load the driver manager. Okay, the second one is driver, which translates the API classes to the operations for a particular or for a specific data sources. The third one is connection. It establishes the connection, or it is a kind of session which is connected between the applications and a driver. The third one is a statement. The next one is a statement, which is a SQL statement which is used to perform a query or which you are used to perform for any update operation. The metadata is information about the written data or any driver or the databases. The result set is a the result set basically holds the data in the form of, it means that we have a row or column data inside the result set, or we can also say that the result set that takes the values after the executions from the databases. So whatever the values are written from the databases, result set will display that particular data. So it is a logical set of columns or rows which are written by executing a statement. Whenever we are going to execute a statement, whatever the value is returning from the database is stored inside the result set. Okay, now Java.SQL. Basically, the JDBC is implemented via classes in the Java.SQL package. It is a kind of, it is a simple, it is a package, Java.SQL package. And whenever you are going to write the program for connectivity, you have to, first of all, you have to import that particular Java.SQL package. And we have to define the object for remote connection to database and executing the queries also. There are 8 interfaces to define the objects which we use in the JDBC connectivity. So we have a statement, we have callable statement, we have prepared statement, database metadata, result set metadata, the connection and the driver. These all interfaces which we are going to use to define the objects are represented here in this particular diagram or in this particular architecture. That's why this diagram is known as architecture object, because this diagram is showing all the 8 interfaces which we are going to define the objects. Okay, next, the JDBC classes. So basically the Java supports the database facilities by providing the classes and interfaces for their components. So the first one is, first class is driver manager class, the second one is connection class, the third one is statement, then the result set which is also an interface. So basically the Java supports both the classes and interfaces. So here we have 2 classes. First one is driver manager, the second one is connection, and the third one is statement, and the fourth one is result set. The third and fourth are the interfaces, and the first 2 are classes. Now to 7 steps to heaven, here it is written because these are the 7 steps to write the JDBC program. So first step is we have to first of all load the driver. The second one is you have to define the connection URL. The third one is you have to establish the connection. Then you have to create a statement object. Then you have to execute the queries. Then process the result. And then after processing the result, you have to close the connection which you have at the initial stage which you have started or which you have opened the connection. Now first is loading the driver V1. So first is registering the driver directly. So use the method forName. Class.forName method is used to load the driver. So use the method forName for the class and then creates an instance of the driver. Then registers the driver with the driver manager. So class.forName, just like for if you are using the Sun microsystem, then sun.jdbc.odbc, then .jdbc or db driver. And if you are using Oracle database, then you have to simply change a little bit for the same code. So you have to write the class.forName and then inside the inverted commas you have to write the oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. In the example, we have a proper code for loading the driver. So inside the try block, you have to write the class.forName. Then if you are using Oracle database, then oracle.jdbc-driver.oracle driver. And inside the catch block, you have to put the exception.print stack trace also. For example, if in any case the driver cannot be loaded, then it will put into the catch block. Another option to create an instance of the driver, then you have to manually register that. So for manually registering, you have to use the driver class and the driver is the object of that particular class. Then new oracle.jdbc.driver also, and then you have to register the driver manager dot register driver by manually registering it. Commonly we use this first one method. Then you have to identify the data source. So gives the required information for making the connection to the database. So first of all, the URL. So schemes, protocols, sub schemes, scheme specific part. So whatever the specific information, required information you are going to provide to the driver. So you can use that particular data. Just like for example, if you have a JDBC-ODBC my database, if you have a JDBC Oracle.thin at the local host, this is the username or this is the password. So whatever the required information you are going to provide to the databases for making the connection to the databases, you can have any option to provide that particular information for making the connection to the database. It's your option or it's your choice that whatever the inside these 4 options you have you can select any option and then provide the connection for making the connection to the database. Then connection represents the session with a specific databases. So within the context of the connection, the SQL statements are executed and then results are returned. So there can be a multiple connection to a databases. It basically the connection provides a metadata, means it provides information about the databases, about the tables, about the fields, about any content which we are having in the databases. So connection object have methods which can have the capability to deal with the transactions also. So here the connection, that connection is the class and the connection is the object, and then we are having the connection with the, first of all what we have done, we have load the driver manager. So that driver manager which we have loaded, then dot get connection, then we provide the URL, then user, then password. So by using the get metadata method, we return the JDBC metadata connection and then return type if database set metadata. So whatever the information returned by these objects have, what tables are available, what's our username as known to the database, is the database is read-only model, if the table correlation names are supported or not supported, and so on. So these are the information which are returned by this object also. The connection metadata is an object. So the whatever the information returned by this object can be of this kind only. Then we have a statement. So basically this statement object is used for executing the static SQL statement and obtaining the results produced by it. Basically what which I had told earlier also when I had discussing about the architecture object, that there are 3 kinds of statement. First one is statement, simple statement. The second one is prepared statement, and the third one is callable statement. So generally for general queries we use only the simple statement object. So here what we use, connection dot create statement method. This is the syntax for using that simple statement method. And for prepared statement, basically for a statement when we call multiple times with different values. When we have a option, or when we have a query, just like you have to call the statement multiple times, and whenever we are calling that particular statement, the values are changing. So multiple times calling of a particular statement with different values, then this particular problem can be solved by calling that particular prepared statement method also. And the syntax is connection dot prepared statement method. This is the syntax for prepared statement only. And the callable statement is basically used for stored procedures only. So the syntax of this is connection dot prepared call method. The sample is simple when if you are using the simple kind of statement object. So statement, this is the class, and STMT is this object, connection dot create state. And for executing queries and updates, we are using ResultSet execute query, execute SQL statement which returns a single result set, int execute update, execute SQL insert, update or delete statement. It is also used for create a table, drop table and alter table. It is also have the capability to return the number of rows changed. And set query timeout, it is used to set a timeout for the driver to wait for a statement to be completed, and if the operation is not completed in the given time slot, then an SQL exception may be thrown also. Now to execute the request, first of all what we have written, the string my query is to select prenom num email from the employee table where nom is equal to DuPont and email is not null ordered by nom. So this is a simple query. This is a simple query, SQL query, which is going to be executed here, and inside the result set, which I had already told that result set is used to store the values which are returned from the which are written after the execution of a particular query. So when whatever the query is running here, so after the execution of that particular query, whatever the value will be written from here will be stored in that particular result set RS. So result set basically provides, or it can have access to a table of data which is generated by the executing a statement, and only one result set per statement can open at once, and the table rows are retrieved in sequence from 1 to 1 only, and this result set maintains a cursor pointing to its current row of data, and the next method moves the cursor forward to the next data, and the columns are also indexed by name or number. And the result set 2, the data is retrieved from a column wise to get a particular methods, and where XXX is the type of the returned Java object, and the content cells containing a large amount of data which must be retrieved by the streams only. Type get type into column index, it returns the given fields at the given type only. Example, if you have an example just like int get int 5, string get string 3. So fields index string at 1, not 0. So here we have a indexed point value inside the bracket only. The type get type string column name, same but uses names of the fields, and it is less efficient in compared to type get type int column index. And int find column, it looks up the column indexes which gives the column name also. Result set 3 is null. In SQL, null means the field is empty, not the same as 0 or space or null values. In JDBC, we must explicitly ask if a field is null by calling the result set dot is null column. So this particular code is used in JDBC for explicitly asking to a field is null or not. So this is now what we have studied in different paradigms. Now all the things are combined inside the one examples. So first of all, whenever you are going to write the JDBC connectivity program, you have to import the package java.sql package, and after that we have a result set RS, and then we are going to execute the query, select ABC from the table 1. There must be a table 1. From there we are going to select the ABC, and inside this particular code we are going to print the values for the current row only. So int I is equal to rs dot get int a value. Inside the string we are going to take value b, and then we are going to take the values c, and after that system.out.println is used to print all the values inside a single row. Okay. And the result set metadata. What is the result set metadata? So the get metadata method is used to return the result set metadata objects. What are the information which we can have by the use of the result set metadata method? That what's the number of the columns in the result sets, what are the columns name, what are the columns SQL types, what's the columns normal max width in a characters, what are the suggested column titles, what are the columns numbers of the decimal digit, just columns, case matters, and so on. So these all are the information which can have be fetched from using the get metadata method. This is the full example for JDBC connectivity. So first of all, we have a class that name is test JDBC, and then in the inside the main class public static void main we have a class dot for name. Inside this we are loading the driver oracle.jdbc.driver, and then we have a connection class. Inside this we are establishing the connection to the database, and then we have a statement class, and we have a stmt object which is used to create the statement, and then we have a result set class, and the object is rs. Inside this we are executing the query. The query is select asterisk from the employee table, and then we are having the 3 values from that particular table: nom, prenom, and email. Okay, these are the mapping Java types, SQL types, different SQL types and their Java types. This is a simple mapping table from Java types to SQL types. Okay, these are the Oracle JDBC ones standards types oracles. This is the types Oracle JDBC 2.0. This is the database times. Times in SQL are non-standards. So Java basically defines the 3 classes to help that particular kind of problem. First one is java.sql.date. The second one is java.sql.time, and the third one is java.sql.timestamp. And optimized statements which are used in the JDBC are prepared statements, and the second one is stored procedures. Okay, this is the example for prepared statement example, and we have more examples of stored procedures also, but till now that's all for today. Thank you.